and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football, sports betting, and NASCAR home. I am your host, Kyle Robert. Follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me to break down the Week 7 NFL slate, our best bets, our player props, and more, it's Brian Twining. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Kyle. Yeah, I'm excited to get into this week because as the fantasy football community is deeming it, by Mageddon, there are a bunch of teams on buys, a lot of high scoring teams. So this week's betting card had to be picked from a very small slate. So it's a very select picks this week.
Yeah, we got 6 teams on bye. Obviously, we're recording this during halftime of the Thursday night game, so that's not on our slate. So yeah, we're really our possible pool has gotten a little tight, and yet I feel pretty solid about it. I don't feel great, but that's usually a good sign. 2 weeks ago, I felt horrible and had a killer week. Last week, I felt great and had a terrible week. Except for we didn't get to talk about this, but I gotta bring it up right now. Monday Night Football, Titans money line on the field, getting that W. That was one of my favorite, if not my favorite pick all week long.
Definitely paid out.
And sure enough, I was having a not so great week and ended up turning it all around. Actually, I picked them in my betting pros picks pool, and it pulled me out of the negative week and got me back in the positive. I had a couple units on the Titans, one unit on their money line, and told you, loved it.
And also too in that game. I mean, are we going to continue to doubt Derrick Henry's rushing yards props going forward? I mean, regardless of matchup, it seems
I guess you'll have to tune towards the end when we talk player props, because we may or may not be going there, Brian Twining.
Oh no,
we may or may not be going there. Let's start running through some of our favorite picks. We have a little bit of head-to-head action this week. We'll see how this works. Going a little heads up, and I'll let you start first with your Carolina Panthers on the money line -160.
Yeah, to me, the Giants are just so banged up right now. Carolina, they're going to be without probably Terrence Marshall, but that's not that big of an issue for them. I know that they haven't been playing as well, minus Christian McCaffrey. Sam Darnold in particular is not playing as well, minus Christian McCaffrey. But the reasoning has been more so that they've been giving up a ton of pressure, something that the Giants are not the greatest at this season. So I do think that Carolina's offensive line will be able to, keep the defense of the Giants at bay enough to allow Carolina to jump out to a lead in this game. And their defense will be feasting on this completely diminished Giants offense, which is looking likely to be without Kenny Golladay, Saquon Barkley. Sterling Shepard re-injured himself today at practice, so there's a good chance that he misses this week again. So yeah, I got to go with the Panthers in this one.
Well, I'm taking the Giants plus the 3. We could both win. The Giants could cut the cover, and the Panthers could win. But this is a purely numbers play for me. This game opened up at Giants -3. It's now Giants +3. I don't know if it's 2.5. I don't like it quite as much. I want that full field goal. But the home team getting 3 points. I know they're banged up, but as you mentioned, without Christian McCaffrey, it really does seem like the Sam Darnold led Panthers don't perform quite as well. This is also a homecoming of sorts where Darnold played with the Jets forever. They obviously share a stadium.
Very true.
So maybe the ghost will come out and he'll be terrified. We are approaching Halloween. It's all lining up. So for me, it's just a purely numbers play. This line has moved too much. I know there's injuries, but Panthers are, as much as I love them, as much as I've been excited to back them all season long, I think this is a golden opportunity to back the home team getting far too many points.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this so many times, like the home team getting points in a matchup where the teams are
relatively equal.
Relatively equal to a certain extent is kind of the play.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that there's a possibility that both of us cover. It's one of those games where they miss an extra point or some shenanigans happen. So yeah,
there's been a lot like the 3 and the 7 are obviously still incredibly key numbers, but between the 2-point conversions, the missed extra points, the randomness,
yep.
there's
Well,
been
and
a
then
lot more like 23-24, 31-30 kind of games.
Well, and we're just a few weeks removed from the record for the most extra points missed, like in a week. So
Yeah.
it just goes to show you the reason why these lines are different now. Getting 3 is a big number now, as opposed to before you were worried about pushing.
Yeah. We'll stay in New York and we'll go with the Jets team total under 17.5. I think this is the move of the century. Like,
yep.
We did this last year. It was very profitable. And now you're going back to the well again.
Yeah, I think some people are going to look at this and think, oh, well, the Jets have played better the last 2 weeks. And yeah, that was against the Titans and the Falcons defenses, both of whom are crap.
Yep.
Their previous 3 games going up against Carolina, they have already played New England and Denver. They scored a total of 20 points in those games. And now they go to New England to face a Bill Belichick team who dominates the Jets. Rookie quarterback going into Foxborough. This never ends well. This is probably one of my favorite plays of the week.
Yeah, no, I love this. I very much co-sign this. And then you don't have to worry about what the Patriots do on offense,
Exactly.
or if they get a pick 6 or something to screw you. It's all about what the Jets are going to do. So, yeah, I mean, it's the Jets offense. People were kind of optimistic about it being at least reasonable for fantasy and kind of interesting that way. And it really hasn't gotten that far. We saw it in flashes. My Titans defense, the secondary is atrocious. We saw it again on Monday night. Really scared to see what Patrick Mahomes is going to do to that defense this weekend. But yeah, I think this is a slam dunk. Think this is also one of your bets if you want to break down that total.
Yeah, I just mentioned them against the Jets. I mean, the Falcons, they gave up 20 points to the crappy Jets. And now we're going up with Miami, who's been throwing the ball a ton. And last week we saw the Dolphins come out here and Tua went out and threw 40 plus passes. And now we have all these supposed rumors of Deshaun Watson being traded to Miami. I mean, Tunga Vailoa's got to come out here and prove, like, yes, I am the dude. And
the Deshaun Watson rumors are weird, man.
I think it's all posturing by the Houston media to try to
get I think it's that, honestly, or I think it's Deshaun Watson's camp trying to get a trade happening, because every time something like that floats out, the Houston media is like, no, there's no trade rumors happening. And the Miami Dolphins or the Eagles, or there was a third team, I forget.
It's Carolina, Washington now.
Yeah, there was some teams talking. There was talks of Tua going somewhere, and then Deshaun Watson ending up there, and then more picks going back to the Texans. I just think it's all posturing, and there's plenty of good football to talk about. Talking about that seems silly, but yeah, here in a game, I will say the public is all over the over in this spot, but 43% of the bets and 77% of the money are on the under, which I think is weird. But
I can definitely see.
Are the Dolphins being 1-5 like one of the weirder, more unexpected things? Like I didn't think they were going to the Super Bowl, but after how impressive they were last season, I'm pretty surprised by how poorly they played.
I think they've just been so hit with injuries on the defensive side of the ball in particular, which is the reasoning behind why they've started out so poorly.
Sure.
They've been without their top 2 corners, or at least one of those 2 each week this year. I know both of them returned to practice today, but I mean, like they're a beat up team.
And offensively too, Tua's missed time. We were excited about what this offense could be with Will Fuller and Devontae Parker, and the both sides of the ball, they haven't been able to get the pieces on the field that we were all optimistic about them performing well. So I guess it's not that weird, but like I was looking at records and I saw they were 1-5, and I was just like, even as banged up as they are, I'm kind of surprised by that number.
Yeah, they're probably one of the most disappointing teams I think so far this year. However, when you look at their schedule thus far this season, at New England, Buffalo, the Raiders, who are surprising everybody, Indianapolis, who is a lot better than what we saw early on in the year, Tampa Bay, and then yes, they lost to the Jaguars. But I mean, that's a pretty damn tough opening to
I
the
don't know.
season.
I think the Raiders, Indy, Jacksonville should all be wins.
That Raider team is decent though. Like that's the thing. Like
They're okay.
they're
They're falling
good.
apart now, which is what they
Well,
do. They
yeah, of
get
course
injured.
they're gonna do that.
They have things, but yeah.
But yeah, so back to the total with this game. Atlanta's getting Calvin Ridley back. They're coming off their bye week, so they're going to be fresh against the banged up Dolphins. I think this is a spot where you see Atlanta's offense churning really nice and keeping Miami in that pass heavy kind of offense against the Falcons defense, who has not been that good either. So I like this to hit the over and probably get around 50.
Yep. I'm going with the Houston Texans plus 17.5 versus the Cardinals.
Man,
I don't know why I line up to back bad teams, but I think this is a great spot. I do think the Cardinals are banged up. Kyler looked pretty good last week. I watched a lot of that game. But I think it's a good spot. I think, the Cardinals go on the road or play on Thursday night against the Packers. Packers, and coincidentally, are also laying a pretty decent number. I would look at the Washington football team in that spot as well. But I think this is a decent spot. I think as bad as Davis Mills is, I think he's looked like capable of not being an absolute train wreck. And that's all you can ask for when I'm asking you to cover 17 plus points. So
yeah.
getting that hook, I think, is critical. I think 17, I would still be interested. Anything below that, I'm not going there.
These numbers are always really difficult to try to back. They're normally spots where I'm not really going in on, but I lean laying the points here just because this is in Arizona, and that crowd gets pretty raucous when they play a team that doesn't have a traveling fan base. I've experienced that. But you have the talk of revenge game with DeAndre Hopkins and JJ Watt. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be something to that, but this Arizona Cardinals team, they are playing really good. There's a chance that Chandler Jones comes back for this spot, which, remember, he did not play last week against Cleveland. That would be a huge addition against this beat up Texans team. And this could get ugly really early, leaving the back door open really late. So that's why for me, I'd avoid laying. I lean laying, but I'm probably not going to bet it.
Yeah, I also like the over in this game. I think we get to 48, 49, 50 points pretty easy.
And we talked about this earlier in the
there's
week.
multiple ways to get there, right? We talked about this. Either a Cardinals blowout and they win 40-10 or something.
Totally reasonable to think
which is very 41-7 is absolutely on the table.
Exactly.
They could also, if the Texans hang around, keep it inside the number. Maybe they score 16 points, and then all we need is like 32 from the Cardinals. Like that all like 31-17 also feels reasonable.
Yeah, and I do think
it's 31-10 late, and all of a sudden Brandon Cooks or some Chris Moore or some other rando ends up in the end zone with like 2 seconds to go, and all of a sudden the Texans cover. The over hits, and all the commentators are, that number is special to some.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think when you have a team like Houston, who, they suck, but they do have a guy like Brandon Cooks who can take the top off of a defense, and Arizona with Vance Joseph as the defensive coordinator, they're one of the most aggressive defenses in the NFL. They like to blitz, they like to stack the box, they like to bring pressure, which leaves them very susceptible to those one-on-one opportunities and those big plays, which maybe we get one of those out of Brandon Cooks, and that is like immediately you're on pace for the over, knowing that Arizona is probably going to hit their team total over.
Yeah, they've shown the quick strike ability, which is usually for a bad team not very common, but they have a few pieces, including Brandon Cooks, who can get open.
And Davis Mills hasn't looked that bad.
Down, he's not great,
but he's not.
He flashes enough where he hits it. Brandon Cooks deep, hits Chris Moore. All of a sudden, they're in the red zone, and looking to put points on the board. So, I think it makes sense. Let's head to a little another revenge spot of sorts, and that is the Matthew Stafford-led Rams welcoming the Detroit Lions. Brian is all over the first half.
Yes,
Talk
this
to me
is
about this.
so. The Lions, yes, they've made a few of their games competitive, but in 4 of their 6 games already, they've been trailing by 10 or more points against teams that are probably not as good as the Rams. I mean, when you look at their schedule, they've played the Bengals, the Ravens, the Packers, the Niners, the Bears, and the Vikings. I mean, now they're going to LA against a Matthew Stafford-led team that Sean McVay has to do everything in his power to show the world that he made the right decision in trading Jared Goff to acquire Matthew Stafford. So I really don't think there's a chance that they're sitting on the ball here. I think they're coming out firing really early, and this is really ugly, really fast.
I couldn't agree more. I'm on the
Yeah.
Rams for the full game. I like the first half. I like the full game. I think this is a absolute dump trucking from the jump. 41-48 to 3-6.
Yes, and I do think
100 to nothing.
Yeah, if you can find a market for the week's highest scoring team, I really think the Rams this week make the most sense.
I think you could also look at alternate lines like Rams minus 23, Rams minus 25. They could absolutely blow them out. And now we're going to come back and we're going to come back on Monday, and it's going to be like the Rams 12 and the Lions 9, and we're going to look like absolute idiots. But
yeah.
I think the Rams just absolutely dump truck them. Let's look at the total. What's the total? 46. That is interesting.
I think it's because they're not expecting Detroit to do anything in this spot.
So right now all the money is coming in on the Rams minus 15, 16, whatever you get it at, and the under on 50 and a half, which I think is interesting. Yeah, so they want 37-3 basically, which is very much in the realm of outcomes.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, it's time to get everybody what they want. It's time for your week 7 teaser. What do we got?
All right, coming off of an L last week.
We talked about this a little bit earlier in the week with the big spreads. There's 4 double-digit spreads. We got the aforementioned Rams. We have the Packers minus 7.5 or the 8.
Yep.
We have the Cardinals. There was a 4th one, no?
Well, and then you have Tampa, who's like right around 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
but I mean, last year Chicago gave them everything they could handle, so that's a little riskier of a play there for me. So yeah, surprisingly I avoided the really big plays here just because it doesn't make sense to tease a double-digit favorite down to a double-digit favorite to me.
Sure.
I'd prefer to just bet the line as is. So my first one, I'm gonna go with the Ravens, teasing that down to a 0.5 point at home against the Bengals. I don't think Baltimore is going to lose in this spot. They've been playing really good. They've sustained so many injuries and they just keep piling up. But Lamar Jackson is every bit the MVP contender that I thought he was going to be coming into the season. I think he's just getting better. So yeah, I have them minus 0.5. I teased the Packers down from 8 down to 2. I think they win this game. Like Kyle said, Washington could give them a little bit of issues. Packers seem to be slow starters. So I think this is a spot where they're probably a field goal, maybe 6-point win here. So I tease that down to 2. Teasing the Patriots down to 1, which this is, if you could bet this at minus 110, this would be the lock of the century. Patriots minus 1 at home against the Jets. So yeah, I mean, that to me is probably the most guaranteed one to hit. That probably won't win. Zach Wilson throws a Hail Mary to Elijah Moore to end the game. And then I teasing the Eagles and Raiders game down. I see there's this spot where this could potentially be an ugly game because Oakland or Las Vegas, they like to run the ball a lot, but I do think that this is where Philadelphia's offense kind of wakes up a little bit, having that extended period of time to prepare for this game. So I teased this all the way down to 43. I think that Jalen Hurts looks a lot better not playing against Tampa Bay's defense. So yeah, I got Ravens minus 0.5, Packers minus 2, Patriots minus 1, and Eagles at Raiders over 43 for my 4-leg teaser of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I like how you didn't necessarily hammer all the big favorites.
Yeah, those
'Cause
are scary, man.
I feel like they're a recipe for disaster.
I feel like the only one I will say, the only one out of that group that I would even consider teasing down would possibly be the Rams, getting that
Mhm.
down to 10.5, because I think like we talked about with the Giants, 10 isn't necessarily the same 10 as it was prior to this new age of 2-point conversions and all that crap. So I think that's the
100%.
only one I would even consider.
Yeah, if you're looking for an extra leg, I think it makes sense. I might like look at teasing that in the over down or the under, I guess. Make the 7 points higher, and then you're
Yeah.
looking good with that too. I did not make a. I did. I don't. I think I'm gonna. I don't know what to do with Baltimore. I really want to add Baltimore minus the 6.5 to my card.
It's
But
hard because the Bengals are playing freaking awesome,
the
man.
Bengals are playing great. The line hasn't moved all week. 45% of the bets, 70% of the money on Cincinnati. That's how I usually bet. So my numbers say take the Bengals. My head says take the
Take the
Ravens.
Ravens.
So I'm not going to play it. If I was forced to, I would probably play Baltimore, I would probably play the Bengals, but I would not feel good about it. But
Especially on the road. Like,
especially after last week when I was backing the Chargers and watched them
oof.
get dump trucked.
Yeah.
All right, let's give them some player props, Brian Twining. I got a couple I'm going to hit you with. I'll let you run, and then I might add a couple more. I'm going to take Justin Fields over 213.5 passing yards. I think Tampa Bay, their front seven is absolutely incredible, but if you want to attack this team, throwing on them is the key. I know Matt Nagy hasn't been great with Fields, but I've been watching this team a lot this year, and the progression is there. Mooney and Allen Robinson and Cole Kmet are starting to see more volume. Fields threw for his most yards last week. I think they're going to be forced to throw, whether it's because of score, whether it's because of Herbert and or Damian Williams not being able to run it as effectively as they would like, although Khalil Herbert has looked fantastic.
It's been a
I
great
think
filler.
Justin Fields has a I'm not saying he throws for like 600 yards and 17 touchdowns, but I think like 250 plus 2 to 3 touchdowns total, maybe one rushing, one or two
Man,
passing is very much within the realm of outcomes.
this week I cannot get there with Justin Fields. I know the matchup looks great on paper, but when you look at what Tampa Bay was able to do on the road on a short week against Philadelphia, who, yes, Jalen Hurts may not be the best quarterback in the NFL, but in terms of like their status right now, I would take Jalen Hurts over Justin Fields, and I do think that they offer a better set of weapons with Miles Sanders, Gainwell, Devonta Smith. And now you have Chicago with that beat up offensive
Yeah.
line. Fields has not
If
looked
you
great.
feel like that, you need to take Tampa and just back them minus whatever.
I
Because
do
if
think that the
Fields
Bears
can't
defense
throw,
is good though.
if Fields can't throw, this is going to get ugly. It's going to be 37-3, and the Bears are going to get dump trucked. Like
And
that's
I would absolutely love that. I mean,
yeah,
I'm thoroughly enjoying the Tom Brady like FU tour as he gets
yeah.
older. But
Even if you want to take the Bucks and the Rams and just tease them both down and go to town, I think
yeah,
sizable bet. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to get in front of the immovable force. Derrick Henry under 149.5 rushing plus receiving.
how can you doubt this guy? Like, I've been the biggest naysayer in fantasy for Derrick Henry, probably of anybody I know. I've never drafted him, and
I have that crown. Up until this year,
he,
I was Derrick Henry sucks. That was my stance. And as a hardcore Titans fan who watched a lot
dude.
of it, there was a period of time, the first couple of years, where if he had to go left or right, he was falling down.
Yeah, I agree.
He
I
was
agree.
in practice going up against a bag, and he fell over the bag and fell on his face because he couldn't go left or right and pick up his feet. This dude is absolutely incredible. He is so much fun to have on your team, and is arguably one of the 3 to 5 best running backs to ever play in the NFL. That being said, 150 yards. I know this matchup is super compelling. I think there's a very real shot. So this number move is freaking me out a little bit too. I worry that the Titans get their lunch handed to them this week. It's 4.5 with pretty even betting right now. A little bit more on the Titans than on the Chiefs.
But the Chiefs are still banged up on defense.
Everything
man.
sets up for the Titans to play well. They are going up against the worst rush defense with the best running back. Like everything says, run forward, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Luan's banged up a little bit.
Yep.
Roger Saffold's banged up a little bit. I still, we'll see what we saw what happened against the Jets, where when they didn't have AJ Brown and Julio out there, things got ugly, and Julio's a little banged up. AJ Brown's still dealing with a stomach thing.
Yeah.
I feel like Henry can have a good game here, but I think it's like 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is still absolutely incredible. But I think he'll fall ever so short. Last time I did this, I think he ran for almost 2 bills, and I looked like an idiot. So maybe this is a little bit of an emotional hedge, but I'm gonna go to the window for that.
Yeah, I'm on the side of not doubting this guy anymore. That being said, I'm also not running to the book to bet the over here because he's only gone over this mark. What is this? 1, 2. He's done it. Well, he's done it 4 times this year, but this is going to be a spot where, like you said, if they get boat raced early and Kansas City jumps out to a lead, I know that they cannot just abandon Derrick Henry in the game plan. But if
they can. They did it in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
But if they're down multiple scores in this game, they're going to have to reassess how they're going to attack this defense. And it's not going to involve pounding the rock up the middle. It's going to involve Julio Jones and AJ Brown on the outside. So I think this is a spot where Tannehill props are probably the first week of the year where you could really see Tannehill kind of come out of his slump, which sucks because I'm playing him in a couple of fantasy lineups. But yeah, I think there's a better chance of him going under in this spot than there is going over.
His receiving yards prop is 18.5.
That's ridiculous for a guy.
That seems really aggressive. I know he's been, he gets a lot more catches. The concern is he gets the one catch where he runs for like 45 yards on a screen.
Yeah.
And ends up in the end zone. Because if he gets going downhill, he's gone. But if they can hit him quickly, he can be. So that he's either gonna get like 5 yards or like 55 yards. He won't get like 22.
That's why these are scary with a guy like this because of that breakaway ability.
Yeah.
Just like against the Bills. I mean, he had that 75-yard touchdown, but outside of that, he only gained another 78 yards. So
yeah. All right. What do you got? What do you got on your card?
Well, I'm keeping it light this week because my player props have absolutely been trash. But I said this in one of my games that's involved in my 4-leg teaser with the Eagles and the Raiders. I think this is the Devonta Smith breakout spot. I think you see him really become the number 1 wide receiver for Philadelphia in this spot. I think that the battle between he and Henry Ruggs, former teammates, really good friends. I think you're going to see both of these guys try to go out and prove that they are the better wide receiver. And with that extra time off, very similar to Tampa Bay, I think you see Philadelphia make a concerted effort to get him more involved in the offense, maybe some bubble screens, just get the ball in this guy's hands because he is electric when he does that.
Yeah, his total for catches is 4.5 and the over is getting pounded. So smart people are with you on that one.
Yeah, so over 57.5 receiving yards for Smith. I think he's a guy that could do this in one catch. So I really think he's going to see anywhere from 5 to 8 receptions this week, and with his ability, he should eclipse this mark pretty easily.
I am gonna tally onto my Justin Fields bet. With Darnell Mooney over 51.5 receiving yards and over 4.5 catches.
All right, I see that. We're going a little DFS style here, game
Fields,
stacking.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little stack here. If I get one right, I should get all 3 right.
Yep.
Obviously Allen Robinson is the name that everybody knew, but Darnell Mooney is the wide receiver one in terms of volume and usage in this offense, and is seeing a lot of potential. I do like the yardage more than I like the receptions for A-Rob.
I feel bad for Allen Robinson, dude.
This dude is going to be the Larry Fitzgerald where he's just going to go his whole career without really having.
But okay, so
Justin Fields could be the Kurt Warner to his problems, but
not right now.
Nagy is going to stand in the way. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I just don't see it right now because Fields is not polished enough to know you have to throw into the tight coverage. You have to trust your wide receiver.
He's progressing, my friend. Let me tell you, and that's just not me wearing my Ohio State tinfoil hat. I've been watching Bears games really closely, and the difference between the first couple weeks and the last couple weeks is significant.
I'll agree there, but in terms of like production, Allen Robinson needs a guy who is just going to throw him the damn ball, as Keyshawn said.
Yes, he needs a DeAndre Hopkins like target volume from his days with the Texans.
Exactly.
But there's good players on that team. Darnell Mooney is very good. Cole Kmet's very good at the running back. Can catch the ball out of the backfield, whether it's Darrell Williams or even Khalif or
Herbert.
Khalil Herbert. Yeah, I was going to call him Khalif Raymond for a second, but interesting numbers. All right, if you have any player props you like for week 7, let us know down in the comments. We're always open. We're always listening. Always looking for opportunities to find some value on the betting board. Brian, we talked some props. We talked some games. We talked all of our stuff. That leaves one thing and one thing only. What's your best bet for week number 7?
Oh, man. I all my picks I feel very, very confident in, but I got to go Rams first half -8.5. I think this is a smash spot. I think this is going to be one of my favorite first quarter plays for their team total and the line in the first quarter.
Your first quarter parlays are hilarious to me, but also super awesome. And
yeah, they're great.
I have to hop on a few.
But yeah, so Rams first half -8.5, my best bet this week.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Let me see. Can I get that number still? I want to bet the Rams. 15.5 is the best I can get. I can get 15.5 at DraftKings. I'm going to join you. This is either going to go really well or really poorly. I will take the Rams -15.5 for the full game.
I think it hits, man. I just don't see a world.
I think they absolutely dump truck them here, and I also thought the Vikings would do it, but that's it's more about the Vikings than less about the Lions. Yeah. The Lions had their fight. They did their few weeks of looking like a real NFL team, and now they're coming back to reality. So let us know down in the comments your favorite player props, your favorite week 7 bets. We will be back on Tuesday to break down the week 7 that was, as well as look ahead to the week 8. Look for lines to jump on. Look for stuff you should be thinking about.
Do you realize what you just said? Week 8 next week.
Season's gonna be like it's like a slow marathon to through the off season, and then once we get here, we go into sicko mode and hit the Usain Bolt button, and we're just off and running. Like
it's disturbing, but
it's terrifying. I mean, thankfully we have an extra week this year, so that'll help a little bit. But yeah, we're almost to the halfway point of the season.
That's
how wild is that?
It's ridiculous. We're almost to Halloween.
I don't even know what to do. I'm gonna enjoy it while it's here.
Yep.
Because that's all we can do. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. We'll talk to you guys.